Hey, it's Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and this is a commission build for the Dead Sled brand. He sent me this casting. It's a Johnny Lightning casting, all metal, with a plastic interior and a plastic windshield. The Johnny Lightnings are a weird animal. I don't do them very often. They have a lot of detail, but a lot of it's one piece. If you look, the bumpers and everything's just molded into the metal, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. But I'm going to start off by cutting the roof off. And my goal for this was to make, or what they wanted was like a surf mobile. So I thought like a removable hardtop, like a Blazer or a Bronco type of removable roof would be kind of cool. And it's more of an accessory than anything, I guess, in the end. But after cutting it, just did some cleaning up around the edges, filing, just to make it sit smooth. I'm not the best with a jeweler's saw. I don't use them very often. I'm more of a cutoff wheel person. But when you're trying to put something back together afterwards, a jeweler's saw is much better because it gives you a nice clean cut. So I'm going to make a couple light bars or surfboard bars, I guess you would say. I tried a bunch of different things. I tried styrene. I tried brass. I ended up going with piano wire eventually to make them. But as usual, I want my vehicle sitting a little lower than stock. In order to do that, with the wheels that I chose, I kind of have to hog out the wheel wells in the front, and I definitely got to do some trimming in the back because the wheels are a lot fatter than the little itty bitty skinny ones that come with the casting to begin with. So I'll mark where I want to. I got to notch up into the actual casting to allow the axles to sit as low or high, I guess, as possible, and at the same time, realize that I'm going to have to clean out as much material as I can without going too far. And I ended up going too far on one side. I had to fill it in with some body putty. I don't think I show it, but I just went just a tad too far. But this project took me way too long, and I've already apologized profusely. I have a hard time with commission projects. You have an idea on your own builds what you want to do, but when you start working on somebody else's, it adds a lot of, I don't know, undue stress. I guess I really don't need to stress out about it, but I want it to be as good as it possibly can be, and sometimes I end up losing motivation. So that's why this took so long. So you can see the bars there. I obviously have stripped it at this point, but I've got these surfboards. That's kind of the goal. Again, this is more of a accessory with the removable hardtop. And then on the interior, I'm going to have to trim quite a bit off on various aspects of this, mainly the rear end to allow for the wider tires in the back. But I didn't want to cut too much because I wanted to put a coffin back there. This is a hearse, and it is a surf theme, but at the same time I wanted a coffin. And my idea was, in my head, is the coffin is where you put your towels, your sex wax, and all your surfing materials that you use to go surfing. I'm collecting from New England, so I have no idea what what's needed to go surfing, but I'm assuming you at least need towels, a wetsuit, some various shark bait stuff. I don't know, whatever. But anyways, I wanted the coffin in the back, not to haul bodies so much as to haul, the stuff that you would normally take with you to the beach. And then obviously I've got to fit it 100 times to make sure it's going to fit good. I'm not quite at the stage. I'm pretty close here to putting the rear tires in. But with those wheel wells, if you notice on this casting, it's got the fender skirts. So it's not like I can jack this thing up to the sun. I mean, I suppose I could have. That's really not the direction I wanted to go with this. So in order to get those to fit, as you can see here, I've got to hog out quite a bit out of those wheel wells. So I'm pretty much going to take them off completely. And again, this is probably one of those instances where you could use something else other than a cutoff wheel. I just find that it works much faster. And I wouldn't say cleaner, but definitely faster. And it allows me to grind away a little bit at a time because I didn't want to cut too much. So I primed it white. I primed the roof white. I'm going to go with a custom color here. They wanted something kind of greenish, something like that. But there you can see my coffins laid out. I'm going to go with this Highland green and this gold. And I'm going to mix the two for the base color of the car right there, you can see. And then the roof, I just went with the straight Highland green. And I thought it gave kind of a cool mixed match color combination so that the Landau roof looked a little bit more, I call it a Landau roof, but the removable hardtop had a different shade, but still came out pretty cool. Obviously, like anything else, I painted the coffins the same color as the roof. I'm only using one, but I did more than one just in case I screwed them up. I'd gotten those. Those are all 3D printed. I got those from Grizz over at Bearcat 3D. Same thing with the sides for the actual hardtop itself. The wheels I'm custom making with some brass, and this casting allows me to do that. On the back, on the front, I had to make axle tubes. I do them in almost every one of my videos, so you don't have to suffer through that agony of watching me do those as well. But again, it was all about trying to get the stance. So once I primed the interior, I went with a light color because I wanted to keep the green theme, and I decided to go with different shades of, these are, what are they? Citadel paints. I use kind of both. I use Vallejo, I use Citadel, I use a bunch of different paints, but this is actually the Citadel paints because they had a varying shades of green, so that worked out kind of good for what I was trying to do. Excuse me, I was trying to keep the theme going. I kind of hemmed and hawed about the interior color. I don't have the greatest taste in colors, at least my wife says that, but I try to keep it somewhat consistent and also two-toned at the same time. So you can see I already have the wheels on the interior. So instead of, I'm actually eliminating the chassis altogether. So you can see right there, I've got the coffin in the back. It fits perfectly between those two wheels. I've used my Molotov pen on all the chrome on this, which is quite a bit. I could have gone maybe a little bit more, but I did all the rocker panel molding, wheel well opening moldings, front and rear bumpers, and then I'm just going to do the tail lights, headlights, that kind of stuff, just to give it a little bit of pop. But since I took so long, I took these Citadel paints, skulls. I'm going to paint them with this Corax white, and I'm going to use this M2 base and some Epo putty, and I'm going to make them a base, and I'm going to make, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a diorama, or it's just a place to put it. I just thought it looked really cool. I had an idea in my head, and I've never done this before. If you watch my channel, I don't make bases for anything. So I painted the whole M2 base black, and then I'm just stretching the hell out of this Epo putty. And my goal is, or my vision was, to have it look like this hearse is at the beach, but it's a beach in the future, and it's covered with skulls. So I'm just kind of marking off where the car is going to sit. I'm leaving it lumpy, I guess is the word, because it's on the sand. So it just kind of gives that look. I've never done this before, so I'm sure I'm going to get people destroying me on my way of doing this. And I know there's other ways. I did look it up, but I'm also semi-lazy, so I thought this was kind of the easiest way to do it. So after I'd painted the skulls white, I just started trimming them off the sprue and indiscriminately placing them around the outskirts of this, so that when the car sits in it, it will pretty much surround it. Then I'll go over the base with, after this dries, I let it dry about 24 hours. Still a little, maybe a little tacky, but not too bad. This stuff does dry hard, so it just seems to take a little longer than I ever seem to want it to, but it does work good. But I'll go over the base with some Citadel Xandri dust, which is a very similar color to sand. I use it as a dry brush paint a lot on my post-apocalyptic builds for a dust effect. And then after that, I will cover all the skulls with Agrath Earthshade, which is a brownish, dirty brown wash. And then I'll dry brush the skulls with a lighter, like a bone color. And that kind of just brings out some highlights and so on, just to kind of give a little bit of depth without going crazy. Because when you use the Agrath Earthshade, it does darken it up just a little bit too much. So you want the highlights to pop a little bit. And I wasn't going to hit every single skull. So I found that the actual dry brush aspect of doing it seemed to work pretty damn good, actually. I was pleasantly surprised. And then I used a little bit of a texture paint around the outside edges where the Epo putty isn't, because I didn't want it to go all the way to the ends, because I want to be able to get the cover on, obviously. So I put some Sterling Mud, I think it's what it's called. It's a very heavy texture paint. I put that down around the edges, and then I end up painting that again with the same paint I'm using currently. So I used a big brush for the big areas, then I'm just using a small brush to get in. I probably could have painted it first and stuck the skulls in. Probably would have been a smarter move, but I didn't. So this is how I'm doing it. Overall, I did, even though this took me forever, I had a blast doing this. I even went so far as to make a custom background for the acrylic, highlighting their brand. I actually really like the way this thing came out. It's called Hang 10, Hang 'em All. And I really had a blast doing this. I'm glad when I finally get inspiration and it hit that I went with it and just followed through with it. If you like the content, make sure you like this video and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified of all future videos. Not sure if you guys are aware, but I do have an Outlaw Custom Club YouTube membership with special benefits. Some members-only content like website discounts to customs that I have for sale, behind-the-scenes videos, progress pictures and content, so on and so forth. Make sure you check it out. There was a lot to this build, so I didn't film everything. This is what I started with. I like the casting. I think it's really cool. These were just some progress pics of various stages that I thought would be kind of cool to take pictures. I like the all steel look. It just gives you a good idea what everything is and what you have to work with for a casting. And sometimes that brings inspiration, even when you're not looking for it. So, but anyways, I had a blast. I've said it a couple times already. I really appreciate Dead Sled giving me the opportunity to do this. They say they like it. I hope when they get it, they really do like it. This was just one of those builds that I got stuck on it for a while, but once I got going on it, it was really, really fun to build and unique. Unique for me, anyways. I think in the end, it's not wild and crazy. It's not cut up 8 ways to Sunday. There's no big motors sticking out. It's just a really clean casting, the way I ended up doing it, and I'm happy I went this route. I've done some hearses in the past that have been crazy, so it was nice to go a different route. So, anyways, I've got a little bit more video here and tons of pictures. Please stick around till the end. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.